Right, right. It makes me think like so much of this is it's truly a spiritual conversation, even though we're talking about business and art and coaching.
Hmm.
I feel like there's so much we get attached as leaders, as humans, with the how to get to that outcome, as
Hmm.
opposed to what if you just did it for joy
Yeah.
and not worry about how it shows up.
Hmm.
That there's something about the energy and the passion of doing something that um, uh, it brings you
Joy.
joy. I keep saying
Yeah.
joy.
Yeah. That's
Um,
that's I think that's the best word I can think of.
mhm.
Tim Kime is our guest this week. During this interview, we'll discuss leadership, spiritual principles around leadership, business, creativity, and success. Tim is the president of Kime Leadership Associates, an organization based out of Washington, D.C., that offers executive coaching, meeting facilitation, motivational speaking, and team building for organizations of all sizes. We will discuss his affiliation with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and how to find success and joy as you navigate your job/career. Tim Kime is an award-winning and accomplished leader who is passionate about transforming the lives of individuals, organizations, and communities. As I stated earlier, among his clients are the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, George Washington University, Children's National Medical Center, Goodwill of Greater Washington, National Cooperative Bank, Covenant House, Greater Washington, and Covenant House, Illinois. He leads the Art of Possibilities workshop that combines his passion for repurposing household items and helping people be their best. Part part upcycling, part team building, and part coaching. These very engaging sessions use art and the transformation of household items as a metaphor for change and what is possible. Hi, Tim. Thank you for joining me this week.
I'm
You have
so
quite a
happy to
resume.
see you.
Yeah, likewise. You have an incredible resume, man. Your leadership is just written all over you.
Well, thank you. I've been very blessed to have a lot of great leaders in my world, including you.
Oh,
I
thank
think
you.
I think the leadership journey that we've been on together. So I'm grateful to be in good company.
Yes, yes, yeah. I'm definitely in good company. And when I first met you, you were the board chairman for Unity Church, Unity of Washington D.C.
That's right.
And I was just so impressed, you
Thank
know.
you.
So what was your experiences like as the board chairman of the Unity of Washington D.C., which we love so much?
Well, we do, and I think the word is all about love. That's what we call our action teams, love and action.
Hmm.
At church. And so serving on the board was another love and action team. And when I think about all that, Reverend Sylvia, the team over there,
Hmm.
um, our congregants, the speakers, I've been so blessed. And so when I got the call to step up to serve on the board, it was an easy yes. And never did I think that I would then step up to serve as board chair. And it really was a way to stretch and grow and perfect timing for me. And I hope the perfect time for our church as well.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you did an awesome job. I mean, I guess it felt like when you, as the board chairman, you have to get them from the church. You have to explain all the things that are going on. And I thought
Yes.
you did such a great job with that. You was a really great front man for the church in terms of explaining the different functions and things that were going on in
Thank you.
our Union of Washington D.C. And I think it was this year or in the last year where we finished paying for the church.
Right.
So,
Right. DJ, what we often hear from Reverend Sylvia Sumter, our fabulous minister, is
mhm,
all is in divine order.
yeah.
And so the interesting thing was I've done fundraising for years and years. And during my time as board chair, collectively, the board and Reverend Sylvia, under her vision, said, you know what? Let's pay off our mortgage so we can be debt free in 2020. And lo and behold, it happened.
Right.
So, yeah, that was really exciting. So it tapped into my experience as a fundraiser and relationships, but also my passion for unity. So it was just all in divine order, as we say.
Yeah. And it's amazing people that are involved in that process, because
absolutely,
the board members, there are some very top-notch, just intelligent people who bring their business experience to the table, to make that an outstanding organization. So
right.
So impressed.
Right. Well, I'm glad to hear that it was well received, because it's interesting. We know folks, their spiritual journey and a lot of things, but we often don't know what they do professionally. And so it's always interesting to hear all the accomplishments that people like you have as a best-selling author and all that you bring to the table, which I love what a humble person you are too, in terms of the context of church. So anyhow.
Yeah. Well, I try to be. I guess it also depends on who you speak to, you talk to.
Right.
I did want to talk to you about your work, that which organization has performed for the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Yes,
because that's pretty impressive to me, because not just because they're billionaires, but to be, that's a pretty big badge, to maybe say that, I am in support of this multi-billion-dollar organization.
Right. Well, they do such transformative work across the country. And I got connected to one of their leaders who was looking for an executive coach. And so went through a lot of hoops and was able to work with this individual for a good bit of time, and really help them to kind of get out of their silo and see, what's possible for them. So that's how I was able to support that foundation, by supporting their leaders.
Wow, that's really amazing, because that really speaks to that leadership when, they're reaching out to you and say, hey, we have this top level executive at this multi-billion-dollar company, and want you to come in to help mentor them, to coach them on leadership. That speaks volumes to your skill, your abilities.
Thank you. I just feel hugely blessed for the opportunity, and I learned as much as the person I was coaching, so it was really a win-win. But I'm grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah. I think every coaching situation, and I always say that, when it comes to, having a mentor, mentoree, a coach, you need to, it needs to be a win-win situation. Just not one-sided,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, I actually did a story, some months ago, when I had first heard about the, Bill Gates and Melinda Gates divorce.
Right.
And it was a big deal because, of course, there's so much money involved.
Right.
But it was a big deal because of that organization is in the game. So people was wondering how, because that organization has touched so many people and so many countries.
Right.
Countries, and they wanted to know how was this divorce going to affect all the different facets of that organization, the people in the countries that it has touched.
Right.
Did you think about that when you heard about this story?
Oh, of course. I felt, very intrigued by it. The beauty, the way that they've set it up, Bill and Melinda are great philanthropists and community transformers, but also great business people. Hence, they've been able to be successful. And they have set it up, their foundation, as its own private organization with leaders at the helm of it that are committed to their mission. So no matter what happens with them, with their personal financial, their corporate financials, the foundation I'm sure will be strong, impactful because they've set it up that way. So I don't know in terms of again, this is my own assumption. I would assume it would continue to be the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, even when they're no longer together and they're no longer with us on this earth, because the mission is so big and their contribution has been so significant, and they have just a stellar team of people delivering on that. I'm sure they were not happy. No one's happy to get sad news like that, and people, it can be scandalous, and all the rumors and all the stuff that goes on, and I'm sure that it must be difficult when you are so prominent to have your personal stuff put out there in a really
blasted out on the page.
Exactly. And what it does for us, DJ, is it shows that they're human too. Right. And they are dealing with their humanity and stuff that comes up for them along their journey as human beings, as spiritual beings, as business folks.
So I want to talk about your organization and the Kime Leadership Associates, which is a organization in Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
And how does your organization help with executive coaching and team building?
Well, it's a great question. I think often leaders, it can be lonely at the top, DJ, that I really consider myself kind of a strategic thought partner with folks that you might not talk to your vice president about something. You might not talk to your board of directors about something. So where do you go? So folks, that's where I can step in to say, let's talk about this. We always have the Vegas rule. And so that way a leader has a safe, confidential space to say, I don't know what I'm doing, or I made a mistake, or here's a challenge coming up, or here's an exciting opportunity. Let's play it out before I unleash it with my team. So it's been really a great way to support leaders to take their stuff, their abilities, their impact to the next level.
Yeah, that's definitely important. I think that when I'm working with people who are in leadership roles, and I always think the best ones are the ones who have great mentors and do seek coaching.
Right. Right.
And the ones that I've worked with that's been, really people who have really been, I think, had a certain level of foresight that I thought was very impressive, was because they had coaches and mentors in their life.
Right. Well, I remember the first time that I was introduced to the whole idea of executive coach was when I was at Leadership Greater Washington, and it was the partner of the local KPMG, a big business here in town. He said, "We're going to get you a coach." And DJ, I was like, "All right, what's wrong with me? Are you trying to get rid of me?" Or my experience was that if you didn't know what you wanted to do, or you were in transition, that's why you would enlist someone, and that there are folks that do that, and that's a great importance. But this gentleman said, "No, we do this for all our senior leaders, so you have a partner, a strategic partner," and it immediately paid off right away. I had a board member, DJ, that I was counting the days until this person would rotate off the board.
Yeah, been there, done that.
And by working with this coach that I enlisted, we said, well, what if, he said, what if you took this person out for coffee and just pick their brain on things and ask them, what challenges do they see with me and what advice would they give me and all. So I sucked it up and sat there. What I thought would be an hour conversation ended up being 3.
Wow.
And I listened to a lot of feedback. And at the next board meeting, many of the ideas that this person gave me, I implemented right then and there. And as a direct result of working with the coach, that person then became my biggest ally, which I would have never thought in a million years. And so that was an immediate takeaway by having that person to help me look at a bigger picture or think about things that I would have never thought about.
Yeah, that's amazing. That brings a situation that I had, and I was on the board for organization I'm a part of, and one of the individuals that were on the board, uh, we were just having a horrible time,
Hmm.
and a lot of personality conflicts, not just with me, but with pretty much almost everyone on the board,
Right, right,
And I think that would have been great advice to just pull the person aside and say, hey, let's just have a one-on-one and talk about, what issues are they having or what advice they could give to me. I think that would have been, I don't know if it would have helped or not, but I think that it would have um, been helpful on some level
sure,
to because you here with a person for a year, so
right,
to make the best of it. But that never crossed my mind, to say let's just meet for a cup of coffee and let's just talk about what issues do you have with me or the board or just
right.
in general, because like you said earlier, it's about just being a human being, so that's a very good advice.
Yeah, and it's funny. I'm working with someone right now that is a relatively new executive director, and this person, the takeaway was they're going to meet one-on-one with all their board members.
Mm,
And this person would have never thought about that, but because we talked about things and strategized and what I because I'm not in the weeds, I was able to kind of hear, hey, there's this need over here. I did this and it paid off. What if you tried it? And bada boom, bada bing, this person is already seeing the impact of taking the time to do that. Yeah.
yeah.
So, yeah. And hopefully have fun. Hopefully it's not too
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah, and usually, what I've found when I have had that idea to do that, maybe, in other situations where I didn't feel it was so ritual,
Right. Right.
that, we did find some common ground, and
Yes.
it made the, work situation easier by
Right.
just having a cup of coffee,
Right.
you
Yeah.
know?
Great.
So yeah.
Great. Well, I think we maybe all should invest in Starbucks, right? Because
Yeah.
they're taking the time to be in a place like that, uh,
Uh-huh.
with board members, funders, friends. It's always good stuff happens. I think when you break bread or have coffee with
Yeah,
somebody.
yeah, I think caffeine does wonders.
Right, right. That too. That too. That too. Yeah, exactly. Or maybe I don't know, a caramel macchiato.
Uh,
Something about
yeah, it always makes me happy. I tell you that every
right,
morning. Never bother to decaffeinate it. I think that's the problem there, right?
right, right. Exactly. Yep. Exactly, DJ.
Well, one of the things that I find so impressive about your work, just, I mean, of course, the leadership that you bring, with your organization, and just, I think everything that you touch, you bring leadership.
Thank you.
But when I look at your Instagram and your YouTube account, and I'll leave links in the description, the show description, and I see just all these amazing um, uh, things like furniture that you're upgrading, that you're repurposing. I think that is just amazing. I think you have to see it, because it's I can't really explain how you add this new life to these pieces of furniture that may have been forgotten about,
Right,
or maybe haven't been loved the way it needed to be loved
right,
or forgotten about, and how
right.
you breathe new life into this furniture. How did that idea come about?
Well, I think it's like a metaphor. Don't we all want to be loved? Don't want
Yeah.
to we all want to be breathed some life, and we want to be, given a second purpose, so there's a lot of ways that it connects with, a journey, a spiritual journey, a human journey. But
Hmm.
it started really, DJ. I've always been creative. I've been blessed to be passionate about art and creative things. And when I would take vacation, I would often go somewhere where I was painting or doing something with other creative folks. But that was just that was like a week out of the year, a weekend out of the year.
Hmm.
And when I launched this journey, I said, there's got to be a way to do it more. But to answer your question is, years ago when I moved into my house here, I wanted to redo the bathroom, and to buy a generic, boring vanity was $500. And I said, there's got to be a way to do it that fits the look of the house. So I bought a old dresser from a flea market. and had my handyman put, a sink vessel on top with this kind of bar faucet, and it was perfect. And friends would come over and ask me about, like, they'd use the restroom and they'd see it. They would take pictures of it and they'd
Wow.
ask about it. And so then when I redid the second bathroom, same thing. It's like, it just kind of showed me, like, maybe I can relook at things that were cast aside and give them a new purpose. And so that's what the spark happened. And then it just, like, I would see stuff along the side of the road. I saw this one table, DJ, when I was going to my job and back. After the fourth time seeing it sitting there, I put it in the back of my car and brought it home. and repainted it and made it into this beautiful thing, and sold it out on my driveway, and someone took it home with them. So who would have thought that my kooky transformation, that it would have resonated with people? And here I am today with a studio and doing it as classes and as team building. I do believe that when you're passionate about something, the universe conspires to make it happen for you.
Yeah, I definitely believe that as well. I have that experience like that in my life so many times.
Right.
But what I think is so fascinating, I look at your Instagram account, and I see the people that have hire you to repurpose something or reimagine
Yes.
something for them, and how happy they look when they come pick it up.
Yes. Well, it's so true. Can I share a story, DJ? May I share a story? Through different connections. And again, I love the way the universe works. Is someone heard that I did this and led me to this woman, Dorothy, that had her grandmother's piano that she wanted to transform. And it didn't work anymore, to play, but it was a beautiful piece. And so she enlisted me to transform it into a bar. And so now she has this bar that has the piano keys that her grandmother's hands would have played, the pedals that her grandmother's feet would have touched. But now it's this cool, funky bar that when you pull down the top, it's got all the stuff inside. And to think that she uses it as a centerpiece for family gatherings now.
Wow.
Which the piano would have been tossed aside or put in a room and never used. And now here has this whole new purpose that, to me, it was a joyful experience. Yes, it had some challenges, but to see how excited she was and to give this beautiful piece a whole new life for a whole new generation was really priceless to me. It was really a joyful experience.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I had a friend once, and like he was saying earlier, you picked up a piece of furniture, and and you could see something in it that the person who put it down the street obviously could not.
Right.
And he found this someone didn't want this it was old, like, wood, but it was a dresser that probably was 6 feet tall.
Wow.
Like an armoire kind of. And I just thought, oh my God, if I would have found that, and he's seen the value of it, because he knows this is real wood. Let me grab this thing before someone else grabs it. So he grabbed it, and it was, pretty cheap, probably $50 for it. And it probably been made, many years ago. But just that, some people just have that ability to see something, go, oh, I know what to do with this thing here. I know how to bring life or breathe life into this piece of furniture that maybe most, maybe I know I cannot, because I'm always, like, you see all my furniture, it'd be brown or black.
Right. And that's great.
There's no color. I'm going to take a risk, and because all my furniture is just these two colors. And when I see your Instagram images, I'm like, okay, now let me, I'm trying to, think outside the box. Like, invite some color into your life. Think about this in a different way. And I really want to do that. So I want to need your help with that.
Right. Well, DJ, I think one of my superpowers as a leader, as an individual, I feel like I'm able to see things that are not there. And so I've always been in a position where like, what's the vision for something moving forward? And I feel like I can see it. And so when I took over leadership Greater Washington, DJ, it was on life support. I mean,
Wow.
it was on its last leg, but I could see it was a diamond in the rough. And there was something that gave me energy and excitement to make this organization truly what it could be. And so I feel like the same thing. Like when I see people, that's why I love the coaching part is I can see, gosh, if we can help this person just see what they could be and then get them there, it really, there's something that happens. And the same thing with these cast aside items. If you can see their beauty, I'm able to see that and help bring it out. How that might connect to you is through these workshops, that I have called Art of Possibilities is, all right, DJ, you might bring your brown piece of furniture and we're going to talk, we're going to coach, we're envision what it could be. And maybe you've never done anything with bright colors. Well, let's try that and do it. And how does it feel for you? And where did you stretch and where did you grow? And if we get to a point where it's something that you really enjoy, I want to connect the dots. How did transforming that brown chair into something passionate and purple, how did that feel? And how do you connect that with what you're doing with your What's Up podcast here, with your books, with your coaching, with your other journey? Is there a way to connect those dots? And so that way, maybe when you think, well, I can't see it. Well, how is that brown piece of furniture metaphorically showing up in how your podcast could take it to the next level? So that's where it's really kind of fun to figure that piece out.
Yeah, because I think I'm always talking about vision. I do vision boarding, and
yes, you have.
So vision is very important. But that next step, even beyond vision, is maybe reimagining, and possibly revisioning.
Yes,
Like you were just saying, that it's just not about having a vision. It's also you have to have that next step of sort of reimagining. What's already there. So you may already have an idea in your mind about what you want, but can you reimagine that and take it a step further,
right.
And see things, see a color or see a possibility that is beyond the initial vision that you had. So I think that's pretty profound what you just said.
Right. Well, and DJ, as you know, I have been the beneficiary of participating in your vision board workshop, and to see the skill and the impact and the openness that you help to guide people through. I have mine hanging on my wall.
Yeah, me too.
And I think that again, you're able to craft a vision for folks and get them excited about it. And I think often people, let's use your book as an example. Writing a book, publishing a book, sharing a book, all those pieces can be overwhelming for folks. Something in you pushed you through that. What I love to do working with folks is what is their dream and how do we take just one tiny little step? So if someone wanted to write a book, I would imagine your advice would be, let's just start with the title.
Right.
You don't have to write a single word, but what's the title? Or what are 10 chapters that are relevant to what you want to write about? And or at the end of it, how will you feel when you write the first chapter? Not the whole book, but the first page. What would it feel like? And I think that's what gets you DJ motivated with moving forward. And sometimes people just don't know where to begin. And it really is a simple, small, doable step that gets people, well, gee, I could do this.
Right. Yeah, I always advise people, do the fun stuff first,
Yes.
And sometimes the title is the fun part. The chapter names are the fun part,
Right.
And like nothing's set in stone. You can always change it later, but just do the fun stuff first.
Right. Well, and I think often people feel like it has to be perfect or it has to be a bestseller. Now you've written a very successful book, and the next person in our world that is thinking about it, well, what if they don't write a book that is top of the charts? Or what if they just wrote it and they were the only one that read it.
Right.
That's still okay.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, one of my favorite authors is William Walker Atkinson, and he didn't sell a lot of books. I mean, he with a book called he was one of the writers of the Kabbalion and a whole slew of other books that he wrote. And I'm quite sure he never sold probably 100,000 books, when he was alive.
Right.
But if you put this man's name in on a Google search, you're gonna find millions of articles, and all his books are out there. I mean, the public domain now, because it was years ago when he wrote those books in the early 1900s. So he never probably thought about how many lives and how many people would read his books when he was writing it. It's something I have to tell myself sometime when I'm getting frustrated about, I want to touch so many people.
Right.
But it's like, are you happy with if the people that you're going to touch, you never get to see them, you never get to see the impact of your book while you are alive or whatever you create? Would that be okay for you? And I went slowly. Yeah.
Right.
I would like to see all that. But this man, that wasn't what he was about. He wasn't about trying to sell 1 million books. He wasn't trying to change the world at that particular moment. He just was changing the people that he was impacting at that time. And he would eventually do all those things. So I do see that vision that sometimes you have to pull yourself away from you wanting to see all the results of the work that you do. You don't know how many people you're going to touch, even with the initiative that you perform when you're doing this reimagining of these pieces of furniture.
Right. Well, it makes me think like so much of it's truly a spiritual conversation, even though we're talking about business and art and coaching. I feel like there's so much we get attached as leaders, as humans, with the how to get to that outcome, as opposed to what if you just did it for joy, and not worry about how it shows up. There's something about the energy and the passion of doing something that it brings you joy. I keep saying joy.
Yeah, that's I think that's the best word I can think of. Just something that brings you just utterly joy. And I'm at a place in my life now that I'm trying to move more so to that, but more so at a place where if it's not bringing me joy, then why am I doing it?
Thank you very much. Exactly. Exactly.
And
go ahead. I'm sorry.
And the podcast, the book, all those things was just a joyful process.
Yes.
Now I haven't gotten I haven't gotten the pro at it because it's still with things like I'm still like, this isn't the fun part. But I'm not saying everything is perfect, but I'm just saying that I stopped focusing on sometimes what you're told is success. Like, what does this feel like? Does this feel like success? Does this feel like joy? I'm moving more so towards that now. So
excellent. Well, and to me, it's all part of the process that you try something new and you're going to learn as you go with your podcast. And there are going to be some things that, okay, you might do really well. You might make mistakes, but you're growing and learning through the process. And it's a way to express yourself. It's a way to connect with people. And to me, that's where it's really this journey that you're on as an evolving person, as a catalyst for others is really extraordinary. And you just never know, DJ. Who would have thought you and I, from sitting in unity together, would be here on your podcast right now? How cool is that?
I think it's just if you would have talked to me 8 years ago when I joined Unity, I'm like, what are you talking about? That guy up there is on stage talking. I'm going to be in, so it is life has all these twists to it, and all you can do is just, you know, just try to follow that joy,
Yep.
like
Yes.
Joseph Campbell said, just I think the quote was, follow your bliss,
Hmm.
you know, and I think that's some of the best advice you ever can
Excuse
have.
me.
And so, how can individuals sign up for your Art of Possibilities workshop?
They could follow me on Instagram,
Hmm.
which is at Tim Kime Art, TimKime Art, or they could find me on my website, which is transformationjunkies.net. Again, it's transformationjunkies.net, or Tim at transformationjunkies.net, or my consulting. Yeah, we got how many emails do we have? Or Tim at kimeleadership.com. Any way that you can find me, I'll connect you with the workshops. I'm going to be
Hmm.
doing them outside my studio this Friday night in the
Oh wow.
evening, uh, and then I'll be doing it on an upcoming Saturday. But I also, DJ, I have done these as team building, so I can tailor it to your organization's mission and outcome, so that way it really is fun and unique to your organization.
Mm. And is there any way that if, say, there's a group of people who will see value in it, and maybe they're not local, maybe they're online, or or is there any way they could benefit from that in a virtual training or a virtual workshop?
Absolutely, DJ. I mean, the beauty that I believe there's good in every challenge that we have. And COVID, as you know, God knows it's been a big challenge, but also because now people are accustomed to Zoom and
Hmm.
doing things online. So absolutely,
Hmm.
there is a way to do it online. And I have clients that this has helped me to grow rather than just being local. I have clients now across the country, and can I say I went global because
Yeah.
I had a client in Canada, so that counts, right?
Yeah, it does. Now, hopefully
So
more. Well, I'm
hopefully
going to
more.
definitely leave links that you just mentioned in the show description, so that people can
Perfect.
definitely learn more about your workshops,
Thank you.
and let's make it international.
I love it. I love it. That sounds great.
Let's get a
That
couple
sounds
more.
great.
Let's get a few continents in there.
I love it. Yes. Amen. Amen. That's great. That's great. Well, DJ, you never know. Anything is possible, right?
You know what? I'm living it. I'm living that
Amen.
anything is possible, and you can never put limitations on God, or this greater force that we call God. You
Absolutely.
can never put limitations on it, and you just have
Absolutely.
to just be clear about what it is that you want, and then sit back and watch the fireworks.
Uh, amen. And be ready for them, right?
And be ready for the
Be ready
fireworks,
for them.
because change is not an easy process, but it's a beautiful process.
Right. Right.
When
Right.
and that's what I'm also learning, is that that when you say you want something, and then you begin to invite it in, um you have to be able to be willing to be open for those changes to
Right.
happen,
Right.
to let it
Right.
in.
Right.
So and I found that if you do that, actually it's a lot easier.
Right. 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 Well, again, maybe it's human nature that we're more comfortable with what we know, and that
Yeah.
change can be scary.
Uh-huh.
Change, I think it can be a very good thing, and it's going to happen, DJ.
It's going to happen
It's
regardless, so you might as well get
it,
your seatbelt together.
exactly. So when Oprah hears one of your podcasts and wants to be on your podcast, or wants you to be on her show, you DJ, get ready, right?
Yeah, I have it on my vision board. I should grab it and show it to you. But I have that, and I would love to have that experience. And what I would love to be able to do is just I see that vision for you, because I see what you're doing, and it's amazing. And I see the love, and I see the joy and the bliss that it brings you, and it's infused in what you
Yes.
create. That I see that you're delivering, that those gifts to people around the world, and just when you have something like that, that's making people so happy, just with people just being able to see it and go, oh, I get this,
Right.
you
Right.
know
Right.
so I definitely see that for you. I mean, that's what it is. That's at the baseline. That's what it is. When you are you get joy from doing something and it brings others joy simultaneously.
You cannot put a price on that. That is the icing on the cake, my friend.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And for our last question, I wanted to talk a little bit about, your experiences as the president and CEO of Leadership of Greater Washington. You did mention earlier a little bit about that, but I
Right.
really wanted to key in on that because, you know, that is an amazing thing. And I first read that, I said, oh wow, the president. I mean, leadership is something that's so important to me,
Right.
and Washington D.C. is a metropolitan area.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And when you are the president and CEO of a leadership organization, I think that it speaks to it was so important because, like I said, leadership is so important to me because we all been victim of horrible leaders, and we all have had great leaders, and we know that
Yes.
what it feels
Yes.
like. But when you're talking to someone who is actually mentoring and coaching leaders, I just think that that person you want to know more about that particular person because they have they're what you are bringing to the table is going to touch and change and help people who are going to be affected by that leadership.
Right. Right. Well, I was hugely blessed to serve as Leadership Greater Washington's president CEO for almost 15 years, and I went through the program myself when I was the executive director of another nonprofit, a drunk driving group called the Washington Regional Alcohol Program. And anyhow, DJ, it was, again, an organization that I loved because it connected me with people. I think as leaders, we're very much in our silos of work or the field that we're working in. And Leadership Greater Washington gets you to really get outside your daily activities and experience to connect with others who are doing remarkable things. It can be lonely at the top. And so Leadership Greater Washington is people who are in a position to spark change, but to do it more powerfully together. And it was really an experience that when I went through as a member of the class of 98, years before you were born.
I wish.
But when I was running the drunk driving group, I was focused and connecting with people, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, law enforcement, dealing with that. I was very much in that world. And to get out and stretch and grow and connect with other people, it then came back to impact the organization that I was running because I could think a different way, I could see a different way, I could connect with people in a different way. And then fast forward, when I took over the reins at Leadership Greater Washington, I worked really hard to create a safe space so folks could leave all that stuff behind and just connect during the day when we were all together, and connect as human beings and get filled up, get challenged, grow, have fun, get energy so they could go back and do their regular day job in a way that they got a chance to get inspiration and energy, and we keep going back to joy from this experience called Leadership Greater Washington. And I'm still connected with them to this day, a lifelong member, but also I've been blessed to have this great relationship with their current CEO, Doug Duncan, and their vice president, Debbie Kaplan, who are passionate about transformation. So bring all these energetic people together. It really is extraordinary. You should do it. You would be a great candidate to do it.
I think I would. I mean, Mayor Bowser, and I believe
she is class of 2013. She did it before she was mayor. And I have to give Leadership Greater Washington credit for helping her to become mayor.
They're responsible. There you go. You're making mayors.
I believe it. When I went through our class, we had Tony Williams go through, and we all rallied around him, and he launched his campaign with our class. And so it's true. It's That's very true.
Amazing, man.
It's very true.
So I mean, when I did see a presentation a few months ago, and that's when I learned that. About the people who have actually gone through that course, that class, and what things have they, what has manifested out of that
Right.
is pretty. And you can, I don't know how many mayors have come out of that course, that class, but you can at least say two Washington D.C.
Two.
mayors
And
have come out of that.
absolutely. And when you look at the list of other elected officials, people that have served on Prince George's County Council, in fact, the current county executive in Prince George's, Angela Alsobrooks, is a Leadership Greater Washington graduate.
Wow.
Many years ago, one of the late Wayne Curry was her predecessor. Gosh, I bet 25, 30 years ago, and he went through Leadership Greater Washington. And so it really is, it is a membership organization, and it's a year-long intensive study of the region, DJ. And Mayor Bowser, she met people not just in DC, but across Greater Washington. And when she announced her candidacy to run for mayor, it was not just the DC people in Leadership Greater Washington in her class, it was her entire class. People that lived in Montgomery County hosted our current mayor for events in Montgomery County when she was running for office because they so believed in her. And here she is today. Again,
Wow.
now she's super smart, she's super passionate, she's got a lot of stuff that she brings to the table.
Right.
And I would say part of the secret sauce was Leadership Greater Washington.
Yeah, secret sauce. I can feel that. I mean, to me, it says something. I mean, to me, that the timing of that, it'd been different if she was married at the time or she was married after the fact. But just to have those two things happen around that time period, it speaks volumes.
As we say, all in divine order. Just the way that's the timing of her being a part of the organization, for her to get connected with all these people, and then here she is today. Again, I've seen it time and time again with other parts of the Greater Washington region where folks have said, you know what, I want to try this and get these amazing people to rally around them. And part of it is, we know, I think, like almost like Good Housekeeping, didn't they do like the seal of approval? It's almost like Leadership Greater Washington gives you a seal of approval. So you know that if you've gone through this program, that you've got integrity, honesty, commitment, passion, and you're not just about yourself, you're about something bigger happening in our community. So you'd be perfect, DJ. You're all those things.
I'm going to really look into that.
Great.
I mean, when I saw your presentation, I was sold. I like, okay, this is something that I definitely need to look into, because I believe leadership is so important. Because as a Marine, and prior my Marine, my veteran of the Marine Corps, and leadership was thrown down our throats. I had great leaders when I was in the Marine Corps, and I knew how important it was, and I do miss it, because the kind of leadership we got there is very different. I think you can't really get it out the way that the military gives leadership. Is not the same outside of the military. And so I do appreciate that. And then to see organizations out there who are not saying that they're, I mean, some leaders are born leaders, and there are certain leaders that are created. But I do feel as though that your organization, the Leadership Greater Washington, I feel like they're making leaders even better leaders.
Yeah, well, I agree. I totally agree. And I just wanted to share one thing that I launched with the Leadership Greater Washington member. My business partner, Jeff Franco, ran City Year, which is like AmeriCorps for young people. And he and I got together, and we've launched this program called the Transformation Leadership Institute that I know you've heard about. And so what we're doing is we're offering coaching, we're connecting people, and we are now in the thick of it. And I love it. We have these 10 leaders that would have never encountered each other, but we brought them together. We're supporting them, and we're helping to take all their leadership abilities to the next level. And so it's just really big. I would have never known Jeff without Leadership Greater Washington. And because we knew each other, we trusted each other. Again, fast forward, we become friends, but it just made perfect business sense and passionate sense to let's work together. And here we are, with the Transformation Leadership Institute, or TLI, as we call it. Like, like, oh my gosh, where could this go? You just never know what the possibilities are. So it's
Yeah.
really, really just amazing.
Yeah, I agree, and it goes back to what we were saying earlier about not placing limitations
Right.
because you don't know, you just, I mean, we set intentions all the time. I mean, most intentions we set are unconscious,
Yes.
but
Yes.
when we start consciously setting intentions and saying, "Hey, I don't know how possible this is,
Hmm.
but I'm going to just put it out there and see what happens."
Right.
And one thing that I do know for a fact is that when you do have a intent, a goal, a
Hmm.
vision, and when you have the right coaching, the right mentoring, it it causes I think a shift in ways that you get there just faster without
Yeah.
all the bumps and all the trial and error. And that's why I tell people all the time, if you can find a great mentor, a great coach, you can avoid a lot of the pitfalls that
Right.
come with trying to get to a goal.
Right.
And so when you mentioned that, one thing that I felt like is that, hey, somewhere in your consciousness you said, okay, I think this is something that I can do. And
Hmm.
then, as you said, the universe, the powers that be, begin to sort of set it up so that this can happen. You don't know how it's going to happen, but so you turn around one day and you're like, oh wow, this is actually happening.
This is actually happening. DJ, can I tell another story that's a direct
Yes,
result of
yes,
you?
yes, yes,
in
yes.
in your vision board workshop, which was so much fun and really that's something that I think everyone should participate in, just because you just bring this great skill and passion and we keep
Mm-hmm.
saying joy.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, one of the things that I put on my vision board, I had this kooky idea that I wanted to paint an outdoor mural.
Oh wow.
I saw an image in a magazine that you provided. I cut it and I put it on my vision board.
I
And you know what,
remember.
DJ? I have done two murals,
Wow.
two outdoor
But you know
murals.
what? That was the one we did in that January,
Absolutely,
because
absolutely,
you showed me that mural and you said,
absolutely.
and I was like, okay, so it's just amazing to me. I mean, ah, isn't that crazy?
Again, that was like, where did I get this idea? I've never done a mural. But something was planted in the conversation that we had at your vision board session. I found an image, and here, it, like again, there's something about putting it out, and
Mm-hmm.
and the right people showed up to help me.
Mm-hmm.
I did it with another guy who is an architect, Charles Bergen, who's a neighbor. Who there's a whole story there that I could take a whole podcast about, but
Mm-hmm.
it is the right people showed up at the right time to make that happen.
Yes.
And I believe that always happens, DJ. And you can trace back to, you know, all your success that someone showed up at the right time to open the door, to listen to you,
Mm-hmm.
or to question you. I'm such a firm believer in that, DJ.
I believe it. I try to. What I've learned to do now is just stay out the way. you
Right,
know
right.
Stay out the way and stop trying to knock my head against the wall, because sometimes I do them, like I'm trying, like I'm a smart guy, I can figure this out. It's like, just that voice says everything that you've gotten, that you value, you've gotten by just doing what you need to do for the day.
Right.
Not beating yourself
Bingo.
up, not dragging yourself across the field, but just doing what needs to be done today, and everything just sort of falls in alignment, as you were saying. So it doesn't
Absolutely.
so whenever I feel like I'm wearing myself out trying to make things happen, I go, stop. Is this bringing you joy? If it's not, then
Hmm.
just stop, because it's not by doing things that are outside of your joy, you're not really bringing anything to you that you're going to really value anyway. If you
Right.
want to, now, if you enjoy knocking your head against the wall, if you go ahead on, knock yourself out.
DJ, I know some people, and I'm sure you do. I think they like that. I really think they
Yeah,
like it.
exactly. If you like it, then do it. But
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
for me, I don't like it. So
Right,
I,
right.
I, I learned to slow down and just appreciate the moment. Just, like you were saying about that cup of coffee, just sit down and have that cup of coffee and enjoy every sip of it,
Right.
instead of just gulping it down and trying
Right.
to get through the next thing.
Right.
I'm still in the phases of learning to do that, but I'm doing it better than I ever have, in
Excellent.
terms of just slowing. Leaving this interview, I was in my bed just thinking, thinking, and I just stopped thinking because I'm
Right.
exhausting myself.
Right.
And something said, "Why don't you're looking for a guest? Why haven't you talked to Tim? Why haven't you reached out to him?" And I went, I've been wanting to do that anyway. I've been wanting to do that. Why, and then I reached out to you like, yeah, let's do it. So it didn't come to me by racking my brain. It was just me just
Right.
letting go
Right.
and saying, okay, I'm out of ideas. Just relax.
Right.
And
DJ,
then,
that's so important. That's so important. We to be present, to listen, to not overthink things,
mhm,
and also when you're speaking, like what came to mind is having people like you around and others in your universe. So when things aren't clicking for you, or like I'm dreaming about this, but it's not happening, but to have people whose dreams are happening, not to be jealous, but that gives
mhm.
you inspiration. That
Yes.
look at all right, DJ's making it happen,
Mhm.
and you know what? So I'm going to just hang in there. I'm going to be patient. I'm going to, and I think that's where we can support one another,
Right, right.
and have a community of folks that like, what if we all were like, I'm living the dream kind of people, and
Mhm.
if we surrounded ourselves with I'm living the dream people around us, so when it's not happening for us, but we see it happening to
Mhm.
others, okay, great, that's going to get me through the low
That's
points.
what I always say. I say, if God can do that for him,
Hmm.
then what can God do for me? But but that same force, that same energy that's blessing your friends, that same energy can bless you even greater than
Yes.
that.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I always look at when God is blessing my friends that, oh, I'm next.
Right.
The blessing is not too far away. It's on
Right.
his way,
Right.
you
Right.
know.
And sometimes
So
it's already there, DJ, and we don't even
some
see it.
we just need to be aware of it and be conscious of the
Right.
blessings that are already happening,
Absolutely.
you know.
Absolutely.
And like I said earlier, it's just about sitting back and saying, let me stop beating my head against the wall and just open my eyes and
Yep.
allow me to see that what I've been hoping for, asking for, wanting, or really needing is
Right.
already available and here.
Yes, it is.
You
Yes,
know,
it is. It's right here.
yes,
It's right here, right
yeah,
now. And
yeah,
I think that Reverend Sylvia would be very proud of us. I think she would say we're good truth students, right?
yeah, yeah. I definitely aim to make her proud. So I want her to see that I'm not just listening. I'm out here. I'm a believer. I believe
Right.
in these fundamentals, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, then you join Unity Church. You go to unityofdc.org, and you can learn about these principles, or just shoot me an email at DJ Career Coach, DJ at djcareercoach.com, and I'll put Tim's information there. We can tell you all about the Unity principles and how these things can definitely transform your life.
Amen. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I'm so glad that you could join me, and as always, we have a great conversation, and you have been so supportive of me from the beginning, and definitely when I think of Unity, I think of Tim, because he's definitely one of the first people in Unity who made me feel welcome and made me feel at home, and
Thank
I
you.
never forget that at Unity. So he's definitely somebody that I look up to. He's someone that I know is a true student, and he's not just a person who's preaching it, he's a person who's actually following it. So definitely I'm going to leave his information in the show description, and you can learn more about his Art of Possibilities workshop initiative. You can also learn about his organization, the Kime Leadership Associates, and you can also learn more about the Leadership Greater Washington, with it. I'm sure I'll be a member, in the near future. So, and there's any other things that you wanted to mention before we go?
I just want to say thank you for your service to our country with your military. Thank you, service to our community with all that you're doing. I'm just so grateful to know you and to be on this journey with you. Thank you for the opportunity. It's been so much fun.
Yes, likewise. Yeah, I'll let you go and
thanks, DJ.
And I can't wait for our next conversation.
Amen. Big hug to you.
Big hug to you. All right.
Blessing. Blessing. See ya.